Gamze and I'm the Marketing Manager at KSEYE, a specialist property lender offering bridging and hybrid buy-to-let loans. Today we have Rupika Dawda, partner at DKLM, joining us. Hi Rupika.
Hi Gamze, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I'm well, thank you. Looking forward to our chat.
Shall we jump straight in?
Yeah, happy
Brilliant. On your LinkedIn, you shared the news that you were the first female at DKLM to be appointed as an equity partner. What is the biggest piece of advice you could share with aspiring legal professionals hoping to follow in your footsteps?
The biggest piece of advice I would say is twofold. One is be a sponge, absorb everything. You can learn from absolutely everyone, your superiors, your partners, your clients. Listen, absorb the knowledge, use it to your advantage, use it for the future. Secondly, if you don't know something, tell them that you don't know it. Don't try and pretend like you know it or try and guess the answer. And thirdly, I would say, pick the right law firm for you. It's not bigger always isn't better. I think, working at somewhere like DKLM, where I've had great exposure, a wealth of experience, very affable and approachable partners, it makes such a difference. And there's room to grow at smaller firms sometimes. So definitely, look at that and consider that carefully when you're entering the legal profession.
Thank you. What tends to slow the legal process down when it comes to bridging finance?
How long have we got? There's various things. I'd say the number one issue or problem that we face is inexperience in borrower solicitors. Like I said previously, knowing how a bridging deal works is of the utmost importance. So where we come across borrower solicitors that are inexperienced, don't understand or recognise the urgency of their client or of the lender, things tend to go awry. My advice would be that if you've got a bridging deal, make sure that you're going to be there from start to finish. It's very hard to pick up. Disorganisation is another one. The more information that you give a lender and the more upfront you are with the solicitor and the lender, the easier and the quicker the deal will go. And lastly, I'd say that the borrower, if they're inexperienced with bridging, that tends to be a stopping point.
How important is the relationship with a lender like KSEYE when acting for them?
Very, very important. Mainly because I think being able to pick up the phone and have a chat is one of the most important things in a bridging deal. We'll need advice, we'll need guidance from them, and they'll need guidance from us. Understanding the parameters that we're able to work within with bridging lenders is very important. So the fact that I can call up KSEYE and say, look, we've got this going on, what do you think? As opposed to not having a relationship at all and doing everything via email, especially when things move very quickly, is of the utmost importance. Me being able to WhatsApp on our WhatsApp group at 10 o'clock at night, or them being able to do that to me, it just changes things. With technology that we have these days, it's very important that we utilise it, because bridging sometimes 2 days the deal's done. So you do need to be on hand and have that relationship where you trust each other and you understand what the other needs in order to get the deal done. So definitely very important.
Do you have a favourite kind of client to work with or matter to work on?
Well, I have to say bridging there. No, it is. You know what? It is actually bridging, and I think there's twofold. One is it's something that I developed within my firm quite strongly. So, KSEYE was one of my very first clients. I started with them when I was a trainee, and now I'm a partner. So you can just see the length of the relationship that it's taken. The other thing is that it is quick and it is challenging, and you are dealing with different characters every day. So, it makes the job exciting. So definitely bridging clients are one of my favourite. And I'd say as a second favourite would be landlords, commercial property developers. It's so exciting to see somebody buy a piece of land, and then we make that happen. They then go off and develop it, make flats, make commercial properties, and then we are involved with the leasing process or the selling process, which it's quite nice to see a project from start to finish in that respect. So I definitely enjoy doing that side of work as well.
What do you think is the biggest misconception that people have of the legal process when it comes to acquiring property?
I think it's the time that it takes. People expect you to do everything in 2 hours, and realistically the legal process, there's a lot of background work that goes on. Not only, you know, like yourselves, like KSEYE, they have AML requirements, ID requirements, compliance. We've got the same. So before we can even start any work, we've got, you know, a lot of hoops to jump through from a compliance perspective. And the other thing is, you know, I think people think, oh, well, you know, my lawyer's very slow, or lawyers are the enemy. But at the end of the day, when something goes wrong, and property is one of those things that it will come back to bite you, because somebody is going to sell that property, someone is going to finance that property, or someone's going to enforce on that property. So it's something that you do have to take care on, because even the slightest thing, it could affect a client going down the line. So definitely I'd say that the time process of how long it takes to go through the legal paperwork is definitely a misconception.
When unforeseen complexities arise when you are acting for a client, in your experience, what is the best ways to resolve them?
I think it all comes down to motivation and goal of the client. You have to at first understand what is your client's goal at the end of this. If your client wants to redevelop a property, then, you know, and they're going to knock it down, then everything that you thought you needed, you might not need, because at the end of the day, your client wants to knock it down. So if there's not a certificate for a missing wall, it's not the end of the world. So it's all about looking at what your client wants, explaining the issue to your client in a way that makes sense to them. Look at it commercially. So tell them, you know, this is the issue, these are the solutions around it. And it may be very simple. It may just be buying an indemnity policy, or it may be more complicated, but that might be what the client wants, because they might turn around to me and say, well, Rupika, if I can't get access at the back of the property, for example, I don't want this property. So you have to always look at the motivation of the client, always ask them the goal at the beginning, and then deal with the issue. I think being a, you know, technical lawyer and figuring out all the issues is only a very small part of the process.
Your profile on the DKLM website talks about your love of activities like bungee jumping and scuba diving. What has been your favourite, and what is next on your bucket list?
I definitely say bungee jumping was a highlight. Since writing that profile, I've actually also skydived, so I've got to put that in a highlights list as well. For future, I would say definitely something that's going to give me a lot more of a mental challenge. So something that I hate, running. You know, it definitely isn't in the same vein as a bungee jump. I probably won't get that adrenaline rush, but I think I'll, you know, feel very satisfied at the end of it.
With over 9 years at DKLM, your specialisms lie in commercial property and residential conveyancing. What drew you towards these areas?
I think, you know, commercial property and bridging really, both of those areas, you are dealing with something different every day. Not only that, but property as a market, as an industry, it really interests me. And I wouldn't say that I've been passionate about it from a little girl or anything like that. I almost fell into it, but the more I did and the more I experienced, the more I got a lot of motivation from seeing what my clients were doing, from watching businesses such as yours grow, from inception to now. So it's definitely a challenging but very rewarding environment to be in.